So in order for us to understand the differences between maximizing decision-making and satisficing decision-making, let's explore the decision-making process. Here are the steps of the traditional decision-making process. 1, you define the problem. In defining the problem, you set your goal and your priorities, and you size up the situation. Then you gather information and try to match the options that you have to your goals. Then you make a decision or consider alternatives where you might have to repeat steps 1 through 3, defining the problem, getting more information, and matching the option of what you're getting to your goals. Then eventually you make a decision, you evaluate your decision, and you use that information to guide future decisions. So let's say I needed to make a decision. I'm at the supermarket. I'd like to get myself some cereal. That's the problem at hand. And I look at my different options, and here I can choose between the Optimum cereal or the Flax cereal, and I have different goals and priorities. For example, it's important for me to eat mainly organic, and I would like a healthy option. So I want something that's whole grain and has high fiber in it. So I'm going to size up the situation. I'm going to make a decision. Eventually I come home and I eat the cereal, and whether I like it or not will determine whether or not I repeat the same purchase again in the future. A simple little decision-making process. And the cost associated with making a wrong decision is not really that big of a deal when it comes to cereal, but it gets a lot more complicated when you're looking at decisions that have many, many more factors. The less factors you have to weigh, the less important the decision, the easier it is. However, when we have big decisions such as who should we marry, or where should we live, where should I move to, where should I get an education, choices that really do matter become more difficult for us, and they're often the ones that have many more factors. So making a decision about what cereal to get doesn't have as many factors that go in it. There's a much narrower band of things that are important to me, but the more options you have, the more difficult the choice becomes. For example, let's say your soon-to-be college student is trying to figure out where they should go to school. They have a whole list of factors to look at. Let's say hypothetically this is New York area. They have do I want to go to NYU, Columbia, Fordham, UPenn, Albany, Hofstra, CW Post, or Emory? Well, what do I need to keep in contact or in mind here? Well, the size of the school, the reputation of the school, the social life. Do they have an athletics department? How rigorous is it? What's the cost? What's the location? And let's say I'm interested in biology. What's their bio program like? All of these things are going to factor into my trying to make this very important decisions. And remember, your brain is limited. Your brain is limited. And technically, when it comes to our rational, logical thinking brain, we can only really pay attention to a limited amount of information. We usually say 7 bits of information at a time, 7 plus or minus 2. This is why many phone numbers are 7 digits, zip codes are 5 digits, because we are better likely to remember those numbers because they're smaller than we are a 13-digit zip code or a 13-digit phone number. Our brain is limited. And so there's a caveat that when you put a lot of time, money, and effort into making a decision, you want your efforts to be rewarded. Your expectations go up, and your risk of being dissatisfied with the decision that you make also go up. And we call this psychological cost of making a bad choice. They tend to increase. So next, we're going to take a look at what those psychological costs are.